12th of July, Rabbi Furst, Pierke Avos.
Good morning, Lou. Good morning, Roy. Good morning, Sri. Good morning, man. How's everyone today?
Baruch Hashem.
Kol Beseder.
Okay. Good morning. This is Rabbi Shlomo Furst with Samanapsi here in Shalim. Here of Zoom. We are on our first day this morning. We're learning about the Chet Adam Rishon and the various different consequences which took place because of that. I think unless anyone has any particular questions, any questions from yesterday, we discussed briefly the 10 gezeros on Odom and the 10 gezeros on Chava. There's things, the specifics that we can speak about each thing there, but I don't think we should do that right now. Let's just continue on, I believe, unless any particular questions left over from yesterday. All's well? Okay. So you have here in your sheet the Kli Yakar, that's on the psukim there in Vayikra, about the Tumas Nida, Tunas Leda, Tumas Nida. So the Kli Yakar speaks about this Gemor and Yerevin, which is the basic yesod of the lima that we're doing here. Who would like to begin to read?
Ki hachata hakedosh
Hakoidem, ki hachata hakoidem.
Hakodem shel Chava hu Mekor niftach ledamim temeim. Okay, so because of the sin, what is hakdom?
Hakoidem shel Chava, the basically the original sin of Chava, the original sin of Chava.
The original sin of Chava. It is Makor is the essence.
The source.
The source. Niftach, I don't know either.
The source, the niftach opens. Right.
The open source.
That is the source of the opening for the damim, tamim, elu. For these damim of
Blood.
Yeah, these types of blood which are tummy. Normally blood won't be tummy unless it's a revis. It's a revis of blood. You have a revis of blood, and I think it has to be, if I'm not mistaken, I think it has to be a revis of blood from a mace. I'm not sure if you have a revis of blood from a chai.
It's not reverse of blood from a chai is not matama.
Right.
It's only from a mace.
Yeah,
it's only from a mace.
You couldn't go into all the they take blood samples.
Right.
All those places we create tumor. It's only a revis dam from a mace. So the dam, we're talking about the two dams, the dam Leda and the dam of Nida, right? So these dams that are metame, right? Because it's dam which is coming from a chai. So theoretically, since the dam is coming from a living person, right? The dam coming from a living person would not be metame, right? Nevertheless, dam which is of a dam type Nida or dam type Leda, right? These bloods do metame, right? So one of the ways we understand it is because this is a result. The tuma is a result of the chet of Chava and Adam. So therefore, there's a tuma which is created by these two types of dam, the dam Nida and the dam of Leda.
Elu lechatas ula nida. They are for the sin and the menstruation. Kamo she matzino. Like that we find in
Yep.
Eruvin.
Yeah, right, that we find, like we find, Kimitz, in the Gemara in Eruvin.
Amar Rav Yitzchak bar Avdimi Harbe Arba Atzvonach Reb Yitzchak, son of Avdimi, says there are many. What is this? Atzvonach.
Atzmonov, that's the pasuk. Remember, we saw the pasuk in Bereshis. So let's direct our attention back to that pasuk in Bereshis. I think that was in Pierke Gimel. Right, 1 second. Let's take another look. Pierke Gimel. Right, Pierke Gimel. That right, in Bereshis, Pierke Gimel, pasuk Tes Zion, right? Pasuk 16. Right, that's a pasuk. Ela Isha Omar Arbe it's Voinech. Heirenech be'etzem Telidi Bonim ve'esi Sheikh Tisu Sheikh Hu Imshoch Bach. Those are that's basically, it's not all 10. I think they learned out all 10 from this statement. But this is a statement that Kadosh Baruch Hu made to Chava as a consequence of her sin, her disobedience, her rebellion.
So atzvonech means suffering.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. He'll greatly increase her suffering.
Okay, so so we're saying that Rav Yitzchak says that her suffering will be greatly increased.
Right. And then it's going to be, then there's a list of the specific ways that's going to happen. This is a general statement, and then there's going to be specific mentions exactly how that's going to be given out.
Elu shnei tipe damim. These are the two drops of blood. Dam nida v'dam besulim v'kule. The blood of menstruation and the blood of virginity, etc. Okay,
Right.
so what's my question? So it says this is the opening for the blood of Tuma, for the sin and the menstruation, and now it quotes something that doesn't mention that.
Right. He's bringing it's a commotion. It's similarly as we find it's a not an exact comparison, but it's a similar statement.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, it
So,
says kemo shemitzinu. Kemo as likewise we find in the Gemara in Eruvin, as Rabbi Yitzchak quoted, is being quoted.
okay. Okay, v'chein mashma b'Yerushalmi perek b'ma madlikin halachavav, and so it is apparent or is derived in the Yerushalmi Talmud in Perich B'Mamad Likin Halacha 6 Shet Chata Chava, that the sin of Chava who Mekor Ledam Nida, it is the source of the blood of menstruation. Lechach ne'amar v'tahara mimakor damei, and so it says that the tuma of the source of the blood, ti kol ha nashim, because all women tzrichin need tahara. They need to be tahor. Al Chet Rishon, regarding the first sin, Asher Mimenu, that is from them, Nis Pashta Ha Tuma Vaha Zo Chama.
Zuama.
What is it?
Zuama, sweat.
Zuama is sweat.
And well, it's a little bit more than that. It's the tomb is defilement, and the zuma is the and I could it's sort of like a poison. It's like a poisonous substance.
And what about the previous word, nispashta?
It's spread, meaning this pashta tuma from that original, or from that first chet, right? All women need purification on that first sin, share memento, from which spread the tuma, the defilement, right, and the zuma, this poisonous, this poison, ba'olam, into the world.
Into the world. The garam, lechol ha noladim tumas sheba.
Sheva, too much Sheva. 7 days the woman is tummy after giving birth.
Sheva, 7. What is garam?
Cause.
Right.
And it causes all of the births to be tameh for 7 days.
Right.
Elu lo chet ha'adam.
Ilu. Ki ilu.
that if not for the sin of
If Adam had not sinned,
Haya ke Malach Elohim, he would be like an angel of God, Lamala, above, Min Ma'arachas Sheva Kochvei Lechat. From, what is it, Ma'archas?
Mareches,
That's like an arrangement. I mean, this is now he's explaining something a little bit. If it had not been that they said, if it had been that they didn't sin Adam, if it wouldn't have been that Adam had sinned. Haya kamala chilokim lamala mina mareches shiva kochavim leches. That if it wouldn't have been that Adam had not sinned, he would have been like an angel of a Kadosh Baruch Hu. Malamin mareches sheva kochavei leches. The sheva kochavei leches, those are the 7 planets. Kochavei are stars, leches are moving. The seven stars that move, meaning what we call the planets. Right, he would have been above the mareches, the arrangement, the matrix. He would have existed above the matrix of the 7 planets. That the 7 planets were the 7 stars that move.
Meaning that since he did sin, he is under the influence of the planets.
That's right. That's right. That's the you've heard the expression "Ein Mazel Yisrael," right? Ein Mazel. There's no mazel to the Jews. Don't have mazel. What do you mean? There's no mazel. Mazel is really, and it has different connotations, but in this connotation, it's referring to the influence of the stars. The mazel is the influence of the stars, and Ein Mazel Yisrael, meaning the stars have no influence over Klal Yisrael, meaning Klal Yisrael lives above the natural processes of nature. That all of nature falls under the influence of the stars, and therefore there's a natural order to things. But since Klal Yisrael is associated to a Kadosh Baruch Hu through Torah, that makes them elevated above the natural order of things, and they live in a existence that's above the natural order of things. That's what we mean by Ein Mazel Yisrael. But in general, humanity, because of the Chet of Adam Rishon, since Adam Rishon failed and he disobeyed, and therefore he ate from the Eitz Hadas, Tov V'Ra, that gave him now the disadvantage of having to be what we call tachas hateva, meaning he is subjugated to teva. Adam, when he ate from the Eitz Hadas, he's now subjugated to the natural forces, the natural processes of the world. And whereas had he not sinned, he would not be subjugated to the natural forces of the world. He would have been so to speak, supernatural. But now that he sinned, he became natural, right? With Klal Yisrael, because as I said, we have an association to Kadosh Baruch Hu through our learning Torah and fulfilling his mitzvahs. That gives us a special relationship with the Kadosh Baruch Hu, which elevates us above the natural ways of the world. That clear?
Yeah. So in other words, this doesn't affect us as Jews.
Well, after we went through everything we had to go through, and we accepted the Torah. So this that was a partial rectification of the Chet Adam Rishon by Klal Yisrael eating the Makabel Torah on Sinai, right? So that gave us a partial rectification. Actually, had we not sinned by the Chet Egel, it would have been an entire rectification of the sin of Adam Rishon. But since we sinned at the Chet Egel, so we slipped again, and the effect of the Kabbalah Torah was weakened because of our failure at the sin of the Chet Egel.
I see.
But nevertheless, we still maintain, since we do have, we did tshuva, and Kadosh Baruch Hu accepted our tshuva, and Yom Kippur, Moshe Rabbeinu came down with the second Luchos. So we do maintain a certain aspect of Mala Miderech Hateva being supernatural to a certain extent, right? But not to the full extent that we would have enjoyed and been privileged to through the merit of our Kabbalah Torah as it originally was.
Now, how does this work for the women? Did the women participate in the Egel HaZahav?
I'm sorry, Lou, I didn't hear you entirely. Please say that again.
Did the women participate in the Egel HaZahav?
No, they didn't.
So does that mean that for them, they are still unaffected by this dominance of the stars?
There's the Klal Yisrael, since they're part of Klal Yisrael, they still have the advantages and also the liabilities of Klal Yisrael.
Okay, so okay. So if not for the sin of Adam, then the arrangement of the planets would have no effect upon humans. But since he did sin, it does have an effect on humans.
Right.
But because Klal Yisrael received the Torah, that effect is reduced.
Correct. That's right.
And it's reduced both for men and women alike.
Right.
In the same limited way.
Apparently correct. Right.
Okay. Uve chatav hoser mimenu haruchnios v'nafal tachas Mamshelas.
Mamshelas, right?
Mamshelas. What is that?
Mamshelas is the rulership. We say in remember we're getting closer to Rosh Hashanah, right? We're getting closer to Rosh Hashanah. We say in the beginning of our Shmon Esrei for Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur in the V'chein Tains, right? We say Mamshelas Zodon, the rule of evil over the world, right? We say that in the
okay, what is this word? Hosar?
To lose, to miss. Chasar, to be missing.
Yeah, right.
Missing. Okay, so and his sin is missing from us?
Ubecheto, with his sin, chusar memeno haruchnius, and with his sin, it was removed from him ruchnius. There was a
Spirituality.
large amount of ruchnius that was removed from Adam when he sinned was through the chet.
Ah, okay. Okay. In addition to this this power of the stars, this is the second thing that his ruchnius was reduced.
Right.
And he fell under the rulership ha-ma'archa. What is that?
The tachas themselves maracha. He felt the maracha. That was the word above it on the line above the maracha shevi kokev, the maracha, the matrix, right? The arrangement, the matrix, the maracha is the arrangement of the natural order of things. If nafal tachas memshelas hamaracha, he fell to be underneath the rule, to be subjugated by the rule of the maracha, of the natural order of things. When Adam Rishon sinned, so he lost ruchnius, he lost his ruchnius, and therefore he fell to be subjugated underneath the rule of the physical natural processes, natural order, the natural order.
Asher mitzidam nimshach. What is this mitzidam?
Asher mitzidam nimshach. You have to finish the sentence. Asher mitzidam nimshcha atuma la'adam. That from them they bring forth the tumah to a person. Right, that through the subjugation of humanity to the natural processes, the natural order, that brings forth a tumah to people.
And what is nimshach?
From nimshach, it means it draws forth. It's the source, the source or the it's conduit. It's the conduit. It's the path from which tumah comes to a person.
Okay. So the Adam's sin brought him under the effect of the stars because it reduced his ruchnius, and he fell under the rulership of the stars. That brings forth the source of tumah for a person.
Right. That from them it comes forth the source of tumah to a person or to people.
Davar gashme nofal tachas misefer
mispar
sheva kochvei lechas
leches kochvei leches.
So because every matter of gashmius, of physicality, falls under the mispar of the 7 planets. What is mispar?
Like this the sum effect, the total effect of the 7 planets.
Okay, so because every physical matter falls under the total effect of the planets. Usheva Yemei Bereshis, and the 7 days of the Bereshis falls under the effect of the stars and the 7 days of Bereshis. What does that mean?
This is a little bit it's a little bit beyond me exactly what that means, but it means that everything that's physical, right, is controlled by two factors: the effect of the planets and the effect of the 7 days of Maisa Bereshis. Exactly what that means, I'm sorry, I really can't tell you.
Okay, the whole Shemini Ruchni Ki Hu Lamala Mishavi Kimivoar Lamala Parshas Shmini. Because Shmini is the eighth.
Right, meaning we call Shmini meaning there's 7 planets and there's 7 days of Maisa Bereshis. So everything which is 8, anything which is 8 is not physical. It's something which is ruchni, it's something which is spiritual, right? And it's mala mishiva because 8 is higher than 7. So therefore, anything which is 8 is going to be higher than that which is 7. 7 is something which is symbolic of being physical and therefore subservient to the natural laws and processes. And it was something which is symbolic in 8 is something which is symbolically spiritual, which is above and free from the physical processes. That's why he's explaining here why bris milah is on the 8th day. Why is bris milah on the 8th day? A lot of explanations why bris milah is on the 8th day. One is because the 8th day is representative of the spiritual aspect, an introduction of the spiritual aspect of life into the child, because he's now 8 days old. The 8th day is a act of entrance of spiritual components into the newborn child, and that's why the bris milah is done according to the command of the Torah on the 8th day. That complements the introduction of ruchnius to the introduction of ruchnius into the physical body of the child by taking off the foreskin, the oil, and doing the bris milah on the child at the 8th day.
And what is this Kimivoar?
Right, as it's explained, Kimavor, as it's explained, Lamala above the Parsha Shmini, as explained previously in the Parsha Shavua of Shmini.
Okay, so the we have a juxtaposition of spirituality and physicality.
Right.
And the
Exactly.
physicality is associated with the sin, and therefore with the tuma, and what? And antidote to that, to the sin is number 8.
That's partially the it's a counterbalance, correct? It's a counterbalance.
Counterbalance to the effect of this of the physical is the spiritual, as represented by the number 8.
Right. Right.
Okay.
All right. Very good. So let's just let's just return. So we were talking about the to just brings to closure. We were talking about the Tachanun, right? The Tachanun. That's when we started off on this. When the Tachanun, it's mentioned, right? In the Tachanun, the last paragraph on the extended days. So and here the statement just before the end of the extended version of the Tachanun that we say on Yom Chai and Yom Beis, that we said, Kela Bito Dal Kovodenu, Hashem, please take notice of our low level of honor, of respect, goyim amongst the goyim. Shikutsunu Kitumas Hanida, and we are despicable in by them as the tumas of Nida, as the defilement of Nida. Ad Masai Uzecha, right? So that's so we had a question here. What is the tumas Nida doing this? Why is there a mention of tumas Nida? So we see whenever Klal Yisrael falls, right? If, as we said we just learned now, if Klal Yisrael is going to be elevated, and so they can be elevated above the physical, they can be elevated above the influence of the planets and above the physical order and processes of the world. That's if we are maintaining our level, our madrega, our status. But if we are dal kavodenu, if we lower ourselves through primarily through sin, so that's going to be a lack of elevation, and will fall, and then we'll become just as the Klal Yisrael fell by the ego, and we didn't maintain our level of ruchnius that could have maintained us to be at a high level above the natural. So when we fall into the situation of the tumas nida. The tumas nida being the defilement which is originally stemming from the Chet of Adam Arishon and Chava, and their punishments and consequences and decrees made against them because of their rebellion and their disobedience, fighting from the Eitz Hadas. So that's despicable in the eyes of the goyim. The Klal Yisrael should be lowered and not elevated, right? And we should fall to the natural processes. That is a despicable thing in the eyes of the non-Jews. That's the reference to the tumas nida here in the.
So the non-Jews are repulsed by us when we are impoverished impoverished of our kavod, of our honor.
All right. The original honor that we were supposed to have, not only, which is a reflection of the honor that our Adam Rishon was originally supposed to have as well, right? When we regained that honor by our acceptance of the Torah Har Sinai, so we were going back to the original honorable level of Adam Rishon before he did his eating of the Eitz Hadas. But when we fall, so then we regain the liabilities that occurred to Adam and Chava when they transgressed the word of Kadosh Baruch. Okay, very good. All right, so that that'll bring us to a close of this Mitzvah Shem. Let's see. I wanted to return back to. I think we have some time now. I'd like to return back to learning Pierke Avos, right? If we all are agreeable to that, I'd like to return to Pierke Avos. I'm just trying to determine where we exactly more or less left off. If anyone has any clues to where we exactly left off, I think I have a general idea where we left off, but
I'll leave you now. Okay.
oh, right, okay, have a good afternoon, hope to see you tomorrow.
Yeah, be well.
Starting to Mr. Bruce in a few
well.
moments, Mitzvah Shem. Okay, very good. Thank you, Lou, thank you, Mayor, thank you, everybody. We'll be coming back soon, Mitzvah Shem.
Okay.
Back to the Mishnah Berurah.
Yeah.